It's Tina Brinkley Potts, and welcome to this episode of Amplify Your Expertise. So today I have with me Lindsey Ardmore. I could not do a series of women who own tech businesses without bringing on Lindsey. She's definitely one of my peeps. We champion for the same things. We love what we do, and we love what we get to bring to other people. So Lindsey, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Tina. I'm so excited to be here. So excited.
Yay. So Lindsey, tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Lindsey, and I empower female entrepreneurs to make more money with automation and sales machines. And I have a automation agency called Star Tower Systems. It's a super goofy name, but we have just been loving on our clients for 5 years and helping them make more money in the way that feels good to them.
Wow. So Lindsey, let's jump into that part in a way that feels good to them. I wanted to focus on women in this season just simply because it's different for women when you're talking about automating your business, right?
Oh, totally. Women are so different. Obviously, we know that we're women, but women just view their business, they view automation, they view all of this side of like this kind of piece very differently than men. And there's something I like to talk about when men, there's a whole bro marketer culture. There's that whole culture. Y'all know it. You've seen them, you've been scrolling on Facebook and you see, the yacht with the bikini girl on it and make 7 figures this month, that sort of, maybe not that voice, but you know what I'm saying.
That I like the voice though.
It's that force and hustle and grind and the 5 a.m. club. And, there's like, bless him, Gary Vee, who says like, work hard, hustle harder, work 15 hours a day so you can retire happy one day. And I think a lot of women, we don't resonate with that because we're like, well, we kind of want to have that lifestyle now. It needs to work in our time and in our parameters and our boundaries and with our schedules. And that is a very fundamental difference I see with women and men, especially in the online coaching consulting industry.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. Because Lindsey, those messages sound like sacrifice everything so that you can get ahead. And I know that you and I are not that way at all. It is family first. Mm-hmm. And then, while we love our businesses, we love what we do, it is family first. And so the beautiful thing is you found out that that's really what lifestyle means for a lot of the people you work with, right?
Yeah. And, I think, so I started my business with a 3-day-old on my chest, realizing, oh my gosh, I never want to go back to work. I needed to replace the income. I needed to be able to do something that had more freedom. And I listened to those bro marketers. I sat there and I worked 15-hour days. I missed milestones in my child's life. I wasn't showering, Tina. It was just disgusting. Like it was just a bad time for literally years. Okay. And I then woke up one day and I realized, why am I doing all of this? There's nothing here that's lighting me up, right? When you work that hard, when you grind all the time, you grind yourself down into a powder of nothingness. Mm-hmm. And there isn't anything that lights you up anymore, right? It just becomes kind of all blank and a mute point. And what I realized is as I started to put in boundaries, I work 8 hours a week. That's it. That's all I do. I can't do more than that. I'm one of those people that needs to have my off time. I need to be able to spend time with my kids. I need to be able to ride my horses and garden on my farm and do things that I really, really enjoy and love to do. And I think most women, they start their business for the same reasons that I did: time freedom, lifestyle freedom, money freedom, but they end up adhering to this bro marketer culture of, force, hustle, grind, grossness. And they end up losing who they are in the process. And then they fall out of love with what they do, and that's the real shame.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's disrupt that right now. Let's disrupt that bro marketer hustle. And you got to do everything now and go, and you can wait to live 10 years from now when you're uber successful. Let's start breaking down like a systematic, like a few steps. So what would you say is the first thing if somebody was watching us right now, right? What is the first concept that she really needs to embrace in order to make this work?
Okay, so I think that there is this thing that a lot of us women do, dudes do it too, but a lot of women do that, where it's kind of, you have like this fictitious thing going on in your brain, and you have a goal that's like, I want to make 7 figures, but you're like, honey, you've never made anything, right? Or you're just starting out, or maybe, you've just hit your first 6 figures. And not to dissuade anybody from dreaming big, but I think that there's a piece that comes with that lifestyle freedom that's all about, okay, realistic expectations here, baby. Like, what do you physically need every single month? And what does that look like? And I call this process math meditation. I want you to like sit. I want you to figure out, what does my business need? What do I need personally? What does that look like? Getting clarity around those numbers. So yeah, you can dream big, right? You can dream as big as you want to dream. But if we get clarity and realistic expectations and bare minimums and break evens and all of these numbers and really get clear, your business is going to change like nobody's business. Because once you have that number, okay, my minimum number I have to hit is, $10,000 or $25,000 a month. You can work towards that. You can build up the passive income. You can build up the recurring income. You can build up the clientele and the base and the pipeline and all of that stuff so that you can step away. Because unless you have that clarity, you're never going to be able to step away, because you're going to constantly be feeling the lack and the left behind instead of feeling like on point and, moving forward in a happy, peaceful way.
Oh, wow. So I love it so much for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, knowing your numbers, right? Like, when I say it this way, it doesn't sound so cute and sexy the way Lindsey just said it, but right, knowing your numbers, knowing the amount you need to bring into your household to come from your business, so that you can literally go, okay, I really get to play with this now because the bills are getting paid, right?
Exactly. Isn't it exciting? It's like it's a totally different mentality than I have to go make 7 figures this year. So $86,000 per month, and freaking out about that. Yeah. It's like, that's not fun. Let's not freak out. Let's do everything with ease and flow and peace and just making everything fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then from that part, Lindsey talked about reverse engineering. So then once you know what that number is, it now is in a way where you can break it down into bite-sized actions that you get to do. So I love that. So then Lauren, listen, Lauren, why I call you Lauren?
My sister's name's Lauren.
Yes, that's true, but that is not why I called you Lauren. Anyway, Lindsey, okay, so once you really have your number, you're not overreaching, you're being realistic, and it's something that you can do for yourself, what's the next step?
Yeah, so once you get clarity around that, I think it's really important, and you know this, Tina, because you've been in this space a long time. People like to overcomplicate. They think that they have to have all the bells and whistles all the time. I've been told, I could probably be a millionaire off the amount of times people have told me they need to have a quiz funnel. And I'm like, no, no. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. So I think the next thing, instead of having like all these grand, huge plans, having a business flow and having something you want to go towards is huge. It's important. You need to have that. But we also need to look at, okay, realistically, what's the fastest and easiest way for me to make money right now? What do people want? How are they coming in, right? What's the messaging? Who are my ideal audience, right? What do these people actually need? And how do I get to that goal number, right? So instead of looking at things as like, I need to have a quiz funnel. I don't know why I always beat up on quiz funnels. I just do. But I'm like, I probably shouldn't. But instead of thinking like that, we need to think, okay, what's the fastest path to cash? Because more often than not, there's that, is it Occam's razor? It's some sort of weird thingy that says the easiest and simplest path is usually the right answer, right? And so when you make things complicated, you get into overwhelm, you get into stopping in your tracks, you get into like analysis paralysis, you get into procrastinating, you get into all these things that don't matter. Whereas if you just really sat down and said, this is an easy way for me to get clients. And I want everyone to think through that. I want you to think, how did I get my last 2 clients? Where did they come from? Was it referrals, right? Was it word of mouth? Yep. Was it like your Google listing or Yelp listing, or was it on Facebook? Were you in a Facebook group? Do you have a Facebook group? Like, where did these people come from? Because there's a system, right? All of us have a system. We're not out there all of a sudden just one day and, they're popping out like daisies. There's something that you're doing. And if we can replicate that and optimize that, you're not going to have to do any more work to actually do it. Like it's just a super peaceful way to do business.
Well, wow. So, okay. So the biggest part of what you said is actually not just looking for clarity, but understanding that overwhelm does not have to be where you live. That doesn't have to be your status quo. And because when you begin to measure things, everything you said was about measurement. Where are your clients coming from? Who are your clients? Like getting real specific and clear, then you can measure things. And once you start measuring them, you can make them grow, you can make them stop, whichever version you need to do, but it's getting that super clear. So as you can see, I now have baby.
I was just going to say there's a baby now there.
Yeah, there's a baby now. And because this is my lifestyle. My lifestyle is I'm going to be fully present for my family, my grandkids, just whatever. That's the version that I have, and I get to live this version. Lindsey, how did you fight for that version? You talked about having that 3-day-old on your chest, right? Like, what did you have to do in that moment to make the switch? How did you make the switch from the 15 hours, not taking showers? How did you make the switch?
Yeah. So I just honestly, mine's yelling at me now.
Yes,
hi, buddy.
That's how we do things around here.
Hi, boo-boo. Yeah. So, how did I make that switch? So I got into I'm going to be super vulnerable and honest right here. So I was suffering after I had my daughter and I started my business. I had postpartum depression. I had no idea I had postpartum depression. Nobody talked to me about postpartum depression. I didn't know what postpartum depression was. And I look back at it and I was like, oh my gosh, I had postpartum depression. And I was grinding myself down into a flower of nothingness, right? Like it was bad. And so one day I just woke up and I was like, this is not who I am and this is not what I want. And no amount of money is going to solve my problems, right? I could meet bare minimums and be happy, and I could spend more time with my kid. And so what I did, and it was actually pretty devastating, I let go of $8,000 in retainer clients in one day. And I still had other clients that I loved, but I really pruned the tree. And I was like, if you don't make me happy, you're not nice to me, you ain't staying. And you aren't nice to my team, I don't care how much money you're paying me, you have got to go. And I pruned that tree really hard. It was really sad. It looked like it was going to die. And I just woke up every single day and I said, okay, what's going to make me happy? And I'm a big believer. And I know there's people out there that talk a lot about, you can scale with one product. I know that you can scale with one product. That I don't like putting all my eggs in one basket. I think that's terrifying. As the sole income provider for my family for 5 years, I think it's terrifying to put all of my eggs in one basket. And so from that point on, I started getting really serious about, okay, I'm going to launch a program. Who cares if 3 people join it? Who cares if that's my first group? Let's get this ball rolling. And I just never let the fear of failure enter my thoughts, because there was no failure. There couldn't be any failure. I had to do it. you know? And I think that really helped.
Oh my gosh. So I love that you didn't care whether 3 people did it or not, because how many women have been watching this launch style, right? And you spent all of this time creating something beautiful, and then 3 people show up and you think it's a failure.
Yeah. That's depressing, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
How
How
did
could
you get
anybody
over
in
that,
depression?
though?
Well, I have a whole philosophy in life, and I like to say I'm lazy. My team tells me I'm laid back. They're like, "That's a better word for it."
That's a good
and
word.
I'm like, I'll claim the lazy. It's fine. But I am a big believer that things just need to work out, you know, and they're going to work out. And if you do your piece, then it will happen. And whether that's 3 people or 10 people or 20 people or whatever, you know, things work out. But one of the things that has really helped me is I don't build anything until I've sold it. I put everything into Google Docs. I put everything into Google Drive. I don't spend a lot of time launching something, not because I'm not capable of building out beautiful sales pages, but because I don't want to be sad about something. Yeah. And so if I spend, you know, an hour putting together a Google Doc and a checkout form and, you know, preparing for that program, right? And then launching it as we go, I think that's a really underutilized muscle, especially women. We have this huge perfectionism trait in us. It has to be perfect. It's not good enough. It's tied into our individual self-worth. You know, like there's all this crap that's going on inside of us. But if you can just realize that you can sell it with just the idea, your life will fundamentally change. Because all of a sudden, power of everything comes into play, right?
Power of everything. Huge. Oh my gosh, Lindsey, because then now you have people who have paid and they're telling you what they need. Yeah. So you're building what they need. You have all of these beautiful gifts that are ready to flow out from you, and they're telling you exactly what needs to go in it.
Oh, 100%. And then
that's brilliant.
What they tell you is so much better than you would have ever created on your own before you sold it. You know what I'm saying? Like what they want and what they need and how you can pivot that program time and time and time and time again. I've gotten the same feedback. Wow, Lindsey, I never would have taken it that direction. But look at the transformation that they got. I think your client is your biggest like North Star. Yes. And when we can put them into a group program, like the transformations are palpable, you know, things are palpable. Like you can see it, you can feel it. That's how you get amazing testimonials, right? That's how you get them to show up. That's how you get the transformation for these people. And it's definitely not by building and spending all of this time. I have had clients that come to me after 2 years of building a program and I tell them it's crap and we got to scratch it all. And not in a mean way, but in a way that is honest, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, you know, and it's crazy because sometimes they're just so married to something that just isn't going to work. And most of the time, I bet when you're digging into it, you're finding out they've been following somebody's blueprint and it really wasn't them at all anyway. It wasn't. If they really looked at how they really wanted to serve, it probably had nothing to do with it by the time that product was done.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. And I think people, they don't give themselves enough credit. And so they glom onto somebody else's structure or framework or something. And they're like, this is mine. And then it's like, but it's not, you know, you are so much better than that. You have so much more information inside of yourself, but then that self-worth, self-doubt, imposter syndrome just like bubbles up out of their head and they're, you know, and it's just bad.
I know that somebody has a book that's about to come out because guess what? It's in my pre-order. Tell us about the book. I'm so excited about this.
So it actually released today, which is huge. Paperback is, we're just waiting for Amazon to allow the paperback, but it is in Kindle and iBooks. It's called The Female Entrepreneur's Playbook. I partnered with 20 other gorgeous women. And honestly, it like needs a highlighter. It's like one of
wow.
those reference books that you're like, this is good, and there's strategies. What we did was secret strategies for, growing and scaling a business that you love within your life parameters and the things that, you want to have. And I have some amazing co-authors. My chapter is pretty good, but there are some amazing women in here that have overcome so much to grow these incredible businesses. And it's like a peek behind the scenes. It is so good. You can get it on Amazon. It's called The Female Entrepreneur's Playbook.
I am so excited because I pre-ordered through Apple Books.
Thank you.
So I'm like, okay, I knew it was launching sometime soon. I didn't realize it was today. Congratulations. Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
Lindsey, so tell us, I ask everybody a couple of things. So first off, tell me something that felt like a failure at the time. And I think you've already kind of said this, though. It felt like a failure at the time, but now it was setting you up for something greater.
Oh, man. I feel like failure. I celebrate failures. We call them fat failures around here. I celebrate them because they happen all the time. So I feel like I have to.
Every day.
Yeah. I fail forward. So there's been a couple times that have felt like, I call it my blue period, like Van Gogh or Picasso, one of the two. I don't even know. That's sad. I should probably stop calling it my blue period if I can't even tell you the artist that had a blue period.
But that's okay. I like it because it sounds really sophisticated and like it made it a thing.
It's a thing. So I had a blue period and it all came about because I wasn't asking the right questions. I didn't have clarity. Nothing that anybody did or could have done would have changed it because it was all me. And I came out of that about $50,000 in debt out of my blue period after I was doing about $50,000 a month. So y'all just realize how bad the money management skills were at the beginning of my business. And that I call my blue period because I felt like I was going to lose everything. Honestly, I felt like everything was conspiring against me. My husband and I even decided, it was a really good financial choice, but we even decided to sell our home during this time because of the situation that I had put us in because I wasn't asking the right questions. And that's a really humbling thing. And to come out of that and be able to, we bought an investment property in Utah. We bought our dream farm here to be able to grow the business to a point where I'm now working, I said 8 hours a week, 3 days a week for very minimal time and being able to have the lifestyle and the things that I want. So I look back at that as my blue period being really sad and scary at the time. Honestly, it was terrifying. But I came out of it feeling like, wow, if I can do that, I can get through anything, which probably scared my husband a little bit.
Oh, but I love how you said this. I mean, like you kept saying my choices, like the way the ownership of it. Oh, yeah. I think that's a class. My gosh, I think that's a class because most people won't take ownership of where they are in their life, in their business, in their
blame game.
It's always somebody else's fault, right? And yeah, it's just always somebody else's fault. And I just love the way you owned it. My choices, my money management, my everything. That was really beautiful. Lindsey, where can people get in touch with you? Like, do you do a demo? Like, how do people start interacting with you so that you can level up their business?
Oh, I just love you. You're my favorite human in the whole world. I hope you know that. Seriously, we're twins. So I am the only Lindsey Ardmore, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and lindseyardmore.com. And most people, I just tell you to come message me, come find me on Instagram, come let's DM, let's have a conversation. I like to get to know people. I'm all about true connection and loving on people. And the best place to find me is to just come join the sphere inside of Instagram or Facebook, and trust you will be plopped into all kinds of automation and we'll love on you all the time. So that's where you can find me.
Oh, I love that, Lindsey. Listen, I love what you share. I love your posts. I love them. I love them. I love that your version of lifestyle is the exact opposite of the bromance version of, you know, like you said, the yachts, women in bikinis and all of that kind of stuff. Because technically people want to live well now.
Yeah.
You want to feel comfortable now. You want to know that you are worthy to have a successful business now. And quite honestly, I haven't managed the 8 hours a week yet. Like, sometimes I go, I really want to figure that out. Like, but I'm not there yet, but I feel like you've done it in such a way, like you have a lot of non-negotiables. And I think your non-negotiable is your family. And so you're like, no, it's got to be clear because there's my family over here. Now, I might do a little bit with my family sitting beside me, but so I might work a little bit more. But I just love that you really figured it out. There are a lot of people who talk about it. And when I get under the hood of their business, it is not true.
It's not pretty. More often than not, you and I both know, more often than not.
Yeah, it's not pretty and it's not true. And I love, and I can say 100% that your version is true. So thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming.
I'm gonna start crying because I'm a crier. Thank you, Tina.
Yeah, don't be shy. Okay, so will I be seeing you in a couple of weeks in person?
Yes.
I know. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Big hugs.
So thank you again for joining. Listen, check Lindsey out. Facebook, only Lindsey Ardmore. Find her Facebook, Instagram. And Lindsey, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Tina.
Bye.
Bye.